Welcome to How to Garden. Today I want to talk about survival crops for Florida. See, things in the world have gotten a little crazy. So I want to show you some of the things I have growing, why I have them growing, and why you, if you live in Florida, probably should consider putting them in along with other things. I'm going to start off with longevity spinach. It's not a true spinach. That's this right here. It is more closely related to Malabar spinach or Okinawa spinach. It is extremely healthy for you, very vitamin packed. See, I've got it growing all through here. Very, very easy to grow, needs afternoon shade. Next thing I want to talk about is bananas. Now, you can't rely on bananas to produce at a certain time, but they're easy to grow as long as they have good water and they don't get knocked back by a freeze. You can take the green ones and use it as a starch source, or you can let them ripen and eat them like regular bananas. It's very, very good for you. Now, the next one I want to talk about is cassava. This is a sweet cassava. You can see it's growing across there. It is a tree. It fell over when the hurricanes knocked it over. Didn't hurt it at all. Just kept on going. Now the part of that you eat is the root. Now sweet cassava you must cook. Bitter cassava you must soak in water, changing the water every few hours for 4 to 5 days, then cook. You can make bread out of this. If you don't need it, you don't have to harvest it. It's easy to reproduce by just taking cuttings and shoving them in the ground. It'll grow a new tree. So easy to ramp up if need be. The only problem is it takes about a year before they're ready. Next thing I want to recommend is loquat. Very, very easy to grow in Central Florida and further south. Produces a lot of fruit in the spring. It's kind of important. You're coming out of winter, haven't had time to grow anything else. Makes great jams. You can eat it fresh. I know some people that make a nice chutney out of it. Next up, and we gotta get on down in here. They're a little frost burnt, but that is pumpkin, calabaza pumpkin. Grows very well in Florida. So does Seminole pumpkin. A lot of calories there. Stores whether or not you have a cold spot like a refrigerator or not. You can just stack them up on a shelf and they'll keep for up to a year. Tomatoes. Very important source of vitamin C, and everybody seems to really like tomatoes. In Florida, you grow them in the winter, so you got to protect them from a frost or a freeze. Chaya. Now, this plant happens to have medicinal properties that is really good for people with diabetes. But it's green. You cook it. You got to cook it. You got to bring it to a full rolling boil for 15 minutes because it contains cyanide. It's also why a lot of bugs don't eat it. Butterflies happen to love it when it blooms, though. Very easy to grow. Very easy to propagate from cutting. So once you have one, you can make as many as you want. It freezes well. It's great in soups, stir fries. Taste, even when fully cooked, you get hit with a very strong chlorophyll leaf flavor at the beginning, and then that fades out and it tastes just like summer squash on the back end. Now, that's a cabbage, but that's a good example of what can easily be grown in the winter here. Figs are a nice treat. Let's go check out some other things. Alright, so in here, in this bed, I've got a variety of things. It looks a little chaotic, but that's okay. First up is this. This is known as Mother of Thousands. It's about to start blooming. They have really nice blooms. Once you have this plant, you will never, ever get rid of it, and it will follow you from house to house. However, the leaves are edible. Don't particularly taste good. Doesn't particularly taste bad. It's got a nice crunch similar to celery, but not really much flavor at all. It's celery without the strings, but it doesn't taste like celery, it just tastes like a leaf. Happens to be very high in some type of nutrients that's good for treating lung cancer. This cactus here is dragon fruit. Dragon fruit is extremely easy to grow in Florida, and after it's established, it becomes fairly reliable, producing fruit almost every year. Always have aloe of some kind going. You never know when you might need it to treat a burn, and you can eat it. It's not tasty, but you can eat it. Let's check out some other things. This is pigeon pea. It is a technically perennial bean. It's a pea that grows on a tree. They grow 3 to 5 years, or the first time you get cold enough to kill it. It is a fairly heavy producer and really easy to grow. Nitrogen fixer, great chop and drop. If you're in Florida, this is a good additive. Mustard greens. If you do it right, they'll just come right up in your grass year after year. No work crop. All you got to do is harvest. You can also do this with other greens. Peaches. If you get the right variety, it will become an extremely reliable crop for you. Do your research and make sure you know what you're getting. Papaya. So reliable it's scary. They only live for 2 or 3 years. That's okay. You just replant more seed. Avocado trees. Avocado trees are very reliable in Central Florida and South Florida. Get one of the Florida avocado varieties, they do better. This one happens to be from seed, which means it's its own variety. Peruvian apple cactus. The fruit's a lot like a dragon fruit. Very easy to grow, extremely reliable with 2 crops per year. Take into account that it gets very large in time. Look at the size of this thing. It's huge. Mulberry. Very, very easy to grow crop. The berries are great. They produce it early in the spring. But the leaves are also edible and make a great crop for being able to give to your chickens, turkeys, cows, goats, sheep. So don't underestimate how important mulberry trees can be for your system. Elderberry. Elderberry is very easy to grow. The medicine that can be made from elderberry is fantastic. The jellies and jams that can be made out of it's fantastic. And they will produce a lot of fruit. Just be prepared to preserve it. Mango trees. Once mangoes get going real good, they're very, very reliable. It might take them a little while to get going, but you will get copious amounts of fruits out of mangoes. They are freeze sensitive, so North Florida, sorry guys. Central Florida and South Florida, this is all you. Now, in a pinch, you might want to go and turn to nature itself. Wooded areas, that's where knowing what grows where, how to identify it comes in handy. So, let's cover a few things that are edible that are just right here. I mean, they're literally right here in plain sight that most people would never even think of. Let's start with that palm tree. That is a Florida cabbage palm. You can eat the heart of palm. It's a lot of work to get to it, but it's pretty good. Best if you have some type of pork to add to it. Here's a variety of native blueberry. There are 3 varieties of native blueberry, only 2 grow in my area. Let's see what else is easily able to be found that might just keep somebody alive in an emergency situation. Let's see. Oh, there's a wild pigeon pea growing there. Oh. Let's see. What can I find? There's a palm that's a little easier to get to the heart of the palm. Here's another type of wild blueberry. These pine needles, very, very new growth, usually coming out in the spring. This one's not putting it out. You can make a tea. It's very high in vitamin C. You don't want to use the older leaves. That'll make you sick. There's a pigeon pea. This vine right here. Nope, that's not the vine I thought it was when I walked up. See? Gotta know your plants. Sometimes you get close enough and it's not what you thought it was. Those little purple flowers down in there, you can make medicine from that plant if you know how. Here's some bamboo. The young shoots are edible. It's the wrong time of year to have any shoots going, but you look down at the base for the shoots. There's more blueberries. There's wild grapes here. Many, many other things. Let's see. Where's a wild grape at? We just had a bit of a freeze and sometimes grapes get burned. Alright, there's some wild grapevine right there. This is a wild grapevine. Wrong time of year for the grapes. But it's here. That's a midsummer crop. If you look around, you can get gallons and gallons and gallons of wild grapes. Down in there are some aquatic plants. Many aquatic plants are edible. One of these days I'll have to make a video just on edible aquatic plants. And it requires me driving around to various places. I haven't been able to do that lately. Places like this are full of things that could potentially save your life or your family's in a sticky situation if you have the knowledge. Now, some people would be tempted to try to eat this. It's obviously a pea. You open them up, this one here doesn't have any in it, but they're usually full of peas. It's a beautiful plant. It's called rattletrap. No part of that plant is edible. Looks like it would be, especially those that don't know. But it's not edible, and it will kill you. Make you sick first. It's not going to kill you right away. But if you continue to eat it, you're going to have problems. There's just all kinds of things. You just have to know how to identify them. See those ferns? Don't eat the ferns. Make you sick. But we have goldenrod right here. Goldenrod makes a medicine. No, it's a matter of perspective and knowledge. Get some stuff going. Times are going to get weird. Not like they haven't been these last few years. Grow as much as you can. Don't rely on the food systems that we are presently on. If the trucks, for one reason or another, stop running, it's going to get bad.